Hi guys, we're Ford, and this is Moving Forward.
So we kind of have a short recap, but the main thing to know is that it's Ford's main goal right now to produce all electric vehicles. And this said their target market is going to change, that their competition is going to increase to companies like Tesla.
So we're gonna start with our product. We have thought of Blue Oval Solar, which keep in mind, Blue Oval is already an existing service by Ford. We're just standing off of that and putting a solar panel on top. This is actually our fourth idea, so if anybody wants to recommend us to Ford's marketing team, that'd be great, because all our other ones are already in the making. But yeah, so we just stemmed off of something that's already existing.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about target market. So our average income consumers for Ford Pro, environmentally conscious and value sustainability, and then regions with many Ford Pro vehicles. So Ford has made this promise now that they're completely sustainable, and now they're gonna start marketing to people who are making that same promise, or at least working towards learning about this promise, learning how Ford is going to make this change.
So our first objective is to increase our sustainability. So as we know, electric cars are sustainable, but charging them still produces emissions. 80% of electricity in the US actually comes from fossil fuels. So with solar power, we can reduce our emissions and become more sustainable. And also, when using solar power, our carbon footprint is 20 times less than using other energy resources. And with solar panels lasting over 20 years, we can expect to reduce our overall resources to have power.
So, decreasing competition. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is, in the last presentation, I talked about Ford making a promise to both its customers and its employees. So the first thing that they are gonna do, which is already in the works, is they have to make, obviously, batteries for these new electric cars. And so there's gonna be 2 facilities with over 5,000 employees. And so Tesla right now is obviously gonna be our biggest competitor with these new electric cars. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about was their employee basis compared to Ford's. So Tesla, as of 2020, only had 70,000 jobs throughout their whole company. And Ford had over 186,000 employees. So that's first, obviously a really big difference between the two. So now I'm gonna talk about Ford making this change. So like the first time any motor company has made a full change to complete sustainability, which is basically rebranding their entire company. Obviously, competition like Tesla can't battle with this complete promise, right? Tesla started out as an electric car company, and they're still one. But Ford has made this change, which is quite unimaginable, I would say. And so one of the first things that they're doing is the Ford Intelligent Backup Power, which basically is these electric pickup trucks can charge your home if need be. So like if you run out of power in your house, your pickup truck could give you your energy from 3 and then all the way up to 10 days. So it's pretty crazy if you have a pickup truck that is making your house work. And then the next thing is right now, obviously Ford has to rebrand their whole thing, new ideas and new features. And they're using Tesla almost like a prototype. So they're seeing what worked for Tesla and then seeing how they can make that work in their own Ford brand. So obviously solar power charging stations is the beginning of this brand difference between the two. Tesla obviously has solar powered charging stations too, but they're only in America. And right now, Ford is really focused on not just being in America anymore and really bringing that sustainability worldwide, not just in our own country.
So like Kaylee said, we're trying to increase our customer base. So right now, according to our SWOT analysis, Ford has a weakness of relying too much on the US market, with other small revenues coming from places like the UK and China. So Ford has the opportunity to put their charging stations and electric vehicles in more regions. For example, there's potentially a major opportunity to put our chargers and electric vehicles in India. So according to investingindia.gov, with almost 1.4 billion people, India is expected to be the third largest automotive market by 2025. And also their GDP and vehicle penetration is on the rise. So it could be smart for Ford to be the first to put their chargers and electric vehicles in India.
Okay, so making this affordable for everyone. So Ford has committed to lower automotive cost growth by 50% by 2022, and then they're targeting around $10 billion in incremental cost growth, which is just increasing the cost growth. The years. So then engineering costs are being reduced by $4 billion, and they're increasing just their common parts in full lines of their vehicles, and then reducing complex of orders, so no more of that crazy stuff. And then creating fewer prototypes. This is obviously really big in the past few years, and it's kind of just become a waste of products and energy throughout this time. Once again, reiterating Ford's sustainable promise. And then creating these solar charging stations is going to become an extreme financial benefit, not just to Ford, but obviously worldwide. No longer would you have to focus on the price of gas, how much gas you need, blah, blah, blah. And then also it's going to reduce carbon dioxide and methane emissions by more than 80% by 2040, according to DTE Energy, which is Ford's partner in all of this.
So one thing you may not know about electric vehicles is depending on how much charge you need, it can take hours and sometimes overnight. So when we consider where we're gonna place our solar stations, we wanna put them somewhere near hotels. This map up here is a map of all of the hotels under the Wyndham Hotel Company, and they have hotels ranging from really cheap ones to high end, so it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. So if you have your charging stations near these places, you get a really good stretch of space where you can charge your vehicle, but you can also see a lot of gaps here. So if we also place charging stations at rest areas in towns that have the interstate and highways going through them, for example, my hometown, Gaylord, Michigan, has I-75 going through it, and at our Meyer, we have our Tesla charging stations and whatnot. So if I imagine having our Ford solar charging stations there, it would be really beneficial for us. And then obviously, as we said, globally, long-term, expanding into Europe and Asia would be very beneficial. Another great place to have these would be at Ford dealerships, but this more is about promotion. So, you're going into the Ford dealership to buy a vehicle, whether it be electric or gas, and you see this solar station there, and it's intriguing. So if you're going to buy an electric vehicle, your salesperson can actually show you how to work the station and also just show you what can happen inside your car. Because yes, we are promoting our solar charging stations, but we're also trying to promote our electric vehicles. We want to get full electric by 2030. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone here. You might be able to get someone who is going to buy a gas vehicle and get them to buy an electric vehicle because they got to see the solar station and because they get to see how it works. The next is Ford Pass Alerts. Ford Pass is an app that Ford users have. It's connected to their electric vehicle. You can see their fuel level, you can see the battery life, tire pressure, all of that. And so what would happen is when the car is in need of a charge, you would get an alert on your phone saying, hey, you need a charge, the closest solar station is X miles away. Or maybe you're close to a station, you get an alert just so that you know, hey, I may need to stop here and use my phone. And then of course, billboards and TV ads. Ford is really great with these. And this is also killing two birds with one stone. They could even take their current like Ford F-150 billboards on the highway right now and just add a picture of the solar station on there. People would see it. Or you can have a billboard that's just for it, saying your closest blue oval solar station is X miles away, exit 230 or whatever. Same with TV ads. This could be a standalone ad, or it could just be added to our current Ford F-150 electric vehicle ads. At the end of the commercial, just saying, you know, you can get your charges at the blue oval solar station.
So, we are marketing it as free. Any Ford user, specifically Ford, can use the solar panel charging station for free. Anybody that has like a Nissan or a Hyundai car that needs to be charged electrically can use this, but we're gonna be charging it at 35 cents per kilowatt. Now the average price to use An EV charging station is 45 cents, and that can range up to $14.50 in total to charge your car. Well, at these Ford ones, it would be roughly $10.50 to fully charge. And again, we are selling more of the sustainability rather than the product itself.
Okay, so to implement these new solar chargers, first, obviously, we would need investors, because this would cost a lot of money to put all these new solar stations all over the country and globally. To do this, we'd have to advertise this idea to different investors, maybe have a prototype of it that they can experience and touch and see how it works. After which we would then have to develop these stations, but also develop a way to market this new service to customers, which we would use test groups to analyze where are the best spots to put these, as well as maybe having some different locations that have a prototype of it there to analyze how well it is working. And then Ford would also use a variety of different advertisements, as they already do and are really good at, such as TV ads, social media, and another main source of marketing that would be important in this is influencer marketing, to appeal to the younger generation. In the car world, influencer marketing is really big, because if you see somebody that you follow on social media driving this car, you might want that car. That's simple. And then to evaluate how well these new solar stations are working, we could use online tracking services like Google Analytics. Since these are electronic services, Ford would be able to see how many people are coming from using so Ford would be able to use their Ford Pass app to see how many people started to use these chargers after they started the new solar program. They already had the blue oval, so by tracking it that way, they can see how successful it is. And another key thing to analyze is Ford's energy use for powering these chargers. They would analyze what their usage was before, and as well as after the implementation of the new solar charger.